So I guess from the sound of things, all this Markelle Fultz shoulder drama isn't quite behind us just yet. How many of you guys remember or know the name Drew Hanlon? See, we talked about him a few times over the summer, as he was the guy responsible for getting Markelle Fultz up to speed. He was responsible for teaching Markelle Fultz how to shoot again. And over the summer, he was making a lot of really bold claims. For example, saying that Markelle Fultz is now 100% healthy and that he will be an all-star level player this upcoming season. The man was really gassing up Markelle Fultz and getting us all extremely excited to actually be able to see him out there on the basketball court this upcoming year. And I know that I can't be the only one who, after so long, after hearing all this stuff Drew Hanlon was saying about Markelle Fultz, who was disappointed when I actually saw Markelle Fultz play. Hanlon said that Fultz would be an all-star this upcoming season. Yet, he's still not very good, which I find interesting because of how hard Drew Hanlon was vouching for Markelle Fultz. Why vouch for him so hard when you can clearly see that he's not about to be an all-star? Maybe at the time he was just trying to gas up his own name. Drew Hanlon was trying to get his own name out there, become a more reputable shooting coach, a more famous and trusted shooting coach around the league, so we could get more clients and maybe even charge more money. However, after Hanlon started to get called out for Markelle Fultz not being an all-star level player or not even being able to fix his shooting form this season, that's when things got extremely interesting. As when Hanlon was called out by a fan on Twitter for Fultz not showing much improvement so far this year, this was Drew Hanlon's response. That first off, we shouldn't hate on NBA players, in this case meaning Markelle Fultz. Second off, and get this, he said that he's still not healthy. And after that, he just talked about how his shooting percentages did increase from last year so far. But the main issue of all of this was when Hanlon said that Markelle Fultz still isn't healthy, after saying over the summer that he's 100% healthy. But now he's saying that the injury that Markelle Fultz got, and no one knows what it was or how he got it, it's still there. And what makes this even crazier is when this story started to reach the national media, Drew Hanlon then deleted that tweet. It's interesting that it took the national media to recognize the story before Hanlon deleted the tweet. Didn't put out the tweet and then a couple of seconds later said, you know what, I shouldn't have said that. No, the tweet was up there for a while, but it wasn't until people started making a big fuss about it that it was pulled down, which makes me think that maybe the Sixers organization ordered Hanlon to remove the tweet. And then a couple of days later, both Brett Brown and Markelle Fultz addressed the situation, and both of their responses were very, very similar. With Brown saying, there's no conspiracy theory out there. Nobody's 100% healthy, but he's healthy enough to play basketball like JJ and Joel. And then Markelle Fultz saying, nobody's ever 100% healthy in this game. You play 5 games in 7 days, you get bumps and bruises. That's the life of the NBA. That's what you sign up for when you get here, but I'm working every day to get better. Now, those were some extremely interesting responses there, because they did kind of acknowledge the fact that yes, Markelle Fultz isn't 100%, but at the same time, they tried to play it off as more of, you know, every player isn't healthy. No player is healthy. Everyone gets bumps and bruises. But they never denied the fact that something might be wrong with Markelle Fultz's shoulder. The fact that Markelle Fultz said he's trying to work to get better might imply that yes, there is still something going on with his shoulder, or maybe his head. But the thing is, this story doesn't even end there, as just late last night, we started to get reports out saying that Markelle Fultz has now fired Drew Hanlon as his personal shooting coach. Now, I'm sure Fultz and the Sixers organization, anyone you ask, will tell you it's because they're not satisfied with the way that Markelle Fultz has been performing this season. But in reality, I think it's because he kind of blew the whistle on the fact that Markelle Fultz isn't 100% healthy. That's what I'm leaning with, but who knows? All that I do know is something's still up with Markelle Fultz, because he still doesn't look comfortable out there on the court. And I'm not just talking about a player that's rusty, coming off an injury like he was last year. No, the guy still just doesn't look like he knows how to play. And that's not even mentioning all the weird things that have been going on within the season, such as this.
Times you step back to try to entice the longer range jump shots.
Amir Johnson.
And then last night when he was about to shoot this free throw.
And the Heat now at the team foul limit. The Sixers, for their part in the penalty, a rather unusual
pitch.
Something's up with Markelle Fultz. So Carmelo Anthony's time in Houston is of course about to come to a very abrupt end. And we have already begun to get reports out about other teams in the league who are interested in adding his services when and if he gets bought out by the Houston Rockets. Which right there should be proof that the NBA or teams blackballing Carmelo Anthony really isn't happening, because if Carmelo Anthony was trying to get blackballed out of the league, why would teams still be interested in signing him? The whole point of blackballing someone out of the league is to get them out of the NBA. That was happening right now in Houston. No other team will be interested in signing Carmelo Anthony. Anyways, according to the reports, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Portland Trail Blazers have the best odds to sign Melo if and when he is waived. And as for the Los Angeles Lakers, we got reports out saying that they have no interest in adding Carmelo Anthony if and when he is waived. I find it to be extremely funny because LeBron James was backing Dwayne Wade when Dwayne Wade was backing Carmelo Anthony on Twitter when this whole story broke. LeBron James, you're backing Dwayne Wade, yet you don't want Melo on your team. And Dwayne Wade, you were backing Melo, yet you don't want Melo on your team. What up with that? As for the Sixers and the Blazers, if I was Philly, I would not touch Melo with the 10-foot pole right now. You're about to have to work on impressing Jimmy Butler. You've seen Melo's track record over the past few years, how he gets to a team and that team starts to underperform. If the Sixers are trying to impress Jimmy Butler and keep him after this season, why would you take the risk of adding Melo when he could potentially make your chances worse and sabotage your chances of re-signing Jimmy Butler? As for the Portland Trail Blazers though, why not? They really don't have anything to lose here. They've had having a good season so far, but we all know that when it comes down to it, no one's expecting the Portland Trail Blazers to win a championship or anything like that, and they don't have to worry about trying to keep Damian Lillard or keep CJ McCollum with the team after this season. They're not trying to impress anyone, so they really don't have anything to lose. So if they want to sign Melo, then by all means go for it. That being said though, all of the Melo apologists out there, people who make up excuses for Carmelo Anthony, if he gets signed by another team and that other team starts to lose games or starts to do worse than they're already doing, and Melo is still out here averaging the same 10 to 15 points per game on extremely inefficient shooting from the field, I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear how the team is doing Melo dirty and how they're not using him right. I'm done with that excuse. Actually, I'm already done with it. I'm done with that excuse as is. But you guys, everyone else, if Melo doesn't work out with the next team that he's on, please admit that it's time for him to hang it up. See, now part of me wishes that the Lakers would have lost their last couple of games, or that the Phoenix Suns would have waited just a little bit longer to buy out Tyson Chandler. Because yesterday, LeBron James pretty much admitted that if the Lakers hadn't have won their last 3 games in a row, that he most likely would have snapped. I haven't changed anything outwardly, but you know me, you know how I am. I almost cracked last week. I had to sit back and remind myself, you knew what you were getting yourself into. This process has been good for me. I just have to continue to be patient. I had to regroup and remember this is a young team. We're starting to build some good habits. That's all that matters right now. Like I said, I wish the Lakers would have just lost a couple more games just so I could see what would have happened when LeBron James loses it in LA. We all saw what happened when he lost it in Cleveland. The man snapped his fingers and half of the team was gone. So I wonder if that would have been the same case for this Lakers team. That's gonna do it for all the main topics in the news for today's video though, so now let's take a quick look at the games from last night. First of all, I really can't believe that this happened to Caris LeVert. Man was in the middle of a huge breakout season, was for sure going to be one of the favorites to win the Most Improved Player award, and because of him, the Nets weren't all that bad this year. They were actually pretty decent. But he hurt himself last night in the Nets game against the Wolves and had to be carried off the court in the stretcher. Some good news about the situation though is that the tests that were performed this morning showed that there were no signs of any fractures in his ankle and that there is only moderate ligament damage. So while he may be out for the majority of the season, he is expected to return very late into the season. So that's good news. As for the game itself, this was the Wolves' first game in the post-Jimmy Butler era, and they won, partly thanks to LeVert going down early and also the Nets not having a real center last night with Jarrett Allen out due to illness, meaning that they had to use an undersized Rondae Hollis-Jefferson to try and defend Karl Anthony Towns, and that didn't work out too well at all for the Nets, as Towns like he should have been able to, dominated this game with 25 points and 20 rebounds. But it is worth noting they did have a career high 10 turnovers as well. 120 to 113 the final score in this one though. So Draymond Green and Kevin Durant are butting heads again, as after Green turned the ball over the final seconds of regulation as opposed to getting Durant the ball, the two of them were seen having a pretty heated argument on the Warriors bench leading up to the start of overtime. And after the game, it was also reported that Durant was still so upset that he stormed out of the Warriors locker room early. And look, some people are making a big deal of this, but I don't think there is much to it. Durant was just frustrated all night long with the refs as he was battling foul trouble the entire game, and most of the calls were against him were pretty suspect. So he was already frustrated, and then Draymond Green turning the ball over and costing the Warriors a chance to win the game was just the straw that broke the camel's back, and Durant's emotions poured over. Things like this happened before, it's not that big of a deal. Anyways, the Clippers ultimately got the win in this one in overtime, 121 to 116. Montrezl Harrell still having an impressive season coming off the bench with 23 points and 8 rebounds. The New Orleans Pelicans got their most impressive win of the season, and maybe the most impressive win of the season by any team so far, as they were able to beat the Raptors in Toronto 126 to 110. Etuan Moore was on fire, so was Jrue Holiday, and Anthony Davis was his dominant usual self, and because of that, the Raptors didn't stand a chance. Sacramento Kings just beat the San Antonio Spurs for the first time since 2014, 104 to 99. And to me, this kind of symbolizes the fact that the Kings are legit just a very improved team so far this year. A good team coming up in the Western Conference once Fox continues to improve, and same with Buddy Hield and Cauley Stein as well as Marvin Bagley. They might be able to start making some noise in the Western Conference eventually. And these short-handed Sixers were able to beat the Heat yesterday 124 to 114. And I know Embiid can't wait for Butler to get there so he doesn't have to try and carry this team offensively as much. But he did it again yesterday with 35 points and 18 rebounds. The Thunder were still without Russell Westbrook, but luckily they were going up against the Phoenix Suns, so it's not like they necessarily needed Russell to get the win. 118 to 101, the Thunder do get the win behind Paul George with his 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And the Utah Jazz get another win, this time against the Memphis Grizzlies, 96 to 88. Rudy Gobert leading the way for Utah with 15 points and 16 rebounds. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Chicago Bulls yesterday 103 to 98, as Dallas is still improved compared to last year. I wouldn't say that they're good, but they are improved. And the Washington Wizards get their second win in a row, this time beating the Magic 117 to 109. John Wall with 25 points and 10 assists. And that is going to bring us to the player of the day, where you guys can vote for who you think was the best player in the NBA last night by clicking the little eye icon in the top right hand corner of the video. Just remember though, the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. That's going to do it for today though, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA on a daily basis. Thank you once again for watching though. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, and until tomorrow, I am out of here. Peace.